Hi you guys, it's Amy Gretchen. Welcome back to another December daily process video. In this video, I'll be working with days 16 and 17. So the first story that I'm telling here is about wrapping, and it's something that I feel like is very labor intensive during the holidays, but I absolutely I love wrapping. I love taking a gift and making it look special so that the person that is receiving it is excited to open it. So that's kind of the story that I'm telling today. And I have a 4x6 photo that I just cut in half. I was trying to debate whether or not I should just do two photos separately in, each 3x4 pockets, or if I should do one, 4x6. And I just decided to go with the 4x6. So now I'm cutting up my journaling, and what happened here was I printed out a sample of my journaling so that I could then go ahead and print it out on the 3x4 card. That 3x4 card is from the Liz Tamanaha kit. And unfortunately, I forgot to take off that box that you can see on that 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and it actually printed with it on there. So it printed some lines at the bottom, and that bothered me. And so what I just decided to do was take the one of the practice sheets and cut it up and then stick it on top. And you honestly can't even tell, especially when it's in the page protector. It's totally fine. The next thing that I'm doing is I'm looking for a 3x4 card. So I'm just going through I feel like the big stash that I have, and I'm trying to debate what I want to do. I thought that Jolly 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 was really cute, but maybe just a little bit too much white. And I loved the colors that was in, that's a Pam Garrison 3x4 card. I love the colors that was there. And so I decided to go with that. I specifically chose those poinsettias instead of the stars because it had a really thin white border, and I really liked that. It had a black border, and I really liked that. So that's why I kind of went with that. So now I'm working on the numbers and trying to figure out what I want to do with it. I grabbed out of my stash these Heidi Swapp chipboard numbers and letters, and I think these came from a while ago. I just have a big stash of foam letter stickers and chipboard letter stickers, stuff that I've been collecting over time. So it's nice when I've got projects like this and I can just go through and look for what I need. But it's also a reminder to me to use those supplies. And so I'm glad that it's something that I'm able to do. So I've decided to put the number at the bottom of this card, and because it was white and there was so much white on the card, I felt that it needed a little something. So I'm looking through my stash at cards that I could cut up, or any pattern paper that I might have that I could use to go behind there. So you can see that I used the black, and that white with the gold dots that I was using before, that was actually my wrapping paper. And so I thought that that could be a really cute thing to use, but I felt like it was just a little too much white as well. So then I found this great green, and I'm looking at that. I actually do like the green. I thought it went really well with the card, pulled out the greens in the card. But I thought that it clashed a little bit with the teal, and I didn't love that. So I decided to look for something else. And what I end up pulling over is these red stars. It came from last year's Peppermint Granberg kit. And so I pulled that out and I just cut that. And I really liked the way that those worked together. I thought that I liked that it brought out the red in the ribbon in the photo. So I thought that that was a good option. And because those numbers are a little old, I don't remember when they came out, but I've had them for a while. The sticky on the back wasn't awesome, and so I just added some more adhesive to the back, and then I just added some staples to the side just to add a little something more. So now I'm moving on to story or day 17, and it finally snowed. Very happy around here that it finally snowed. I've been waiting. I feel like I've been waiting all month. It snowed around Thanksgiving or on Thanksgiving Day, and I feel like that's really the last big snowstorm we had. So I was really happy that I could tell that story today. And I just printed this out on it's a 6 by 8. Actually, I think it might be a 6 and an eighth by an 8 and an eighth. And it actually fit into the pocket really great. So those pockets are a little bit bigger than 6 by 8. So I was glad that I made it just a little bit bigger. So now I've got these Kelly Winnell, I think that's how you say her name, these stamps called Slim Jim, I believe. And I really love this stamp set. So what I'm writing here is Hello Snow, and I'm trying to debate. My original idea for this was to stamp it in white. I really wanted it to be white on that photo. I thought that it would be great, and then I remembered that when I bought the typewriter that I had this white ink, and so I actually wanted to try that. So I switched that out, and I'm pulling up my typewriter to see if I can get the white ink to work on that photo. And the reason why I put that white piece on the bottom of the photo right there is because I was typing right on the bottom of the photo, and I knew that I needed a little bit more room for the photo to go around the scroll. So I needed just a little bit more. I should not have cut it out first before I did the typing, but I didn't realize it. So um, what I'm doing now is I'm writing, we were waiting, let's see, we're waiting for you, or something like that. Anyway, I counted up all the letters and spaces, and then I'm trying to figure out exactly where I want it to go. And each notch on the ruler is like a letter. And so I'm just like deciding where I want it to finish, and then I'm counting out to know where to start, if that makes sense. So I actually started doing it with the white, and it didn't show up on the blue. And I had practiced it. It showed up on something much darker, but it didn't show up on the blue. So I just went ahead and did it in black. So because I did the typing in black, then I went ahead and I grabbed my black Versamark ink, and I decided to use the black Versamark ink instead of the white. And I actually really debated because I was like, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I think it would work out fine. But I really didn't want to do it and not like it and have to redo it. I didn't want to reprint the photo. So, especially after I had the type and I was happy with how the type looked, I just decided to do the black and not worry about it. So you can see that I did a few stamping practices just to make sure that they were all aligned the way that I liked them, and then that it was stamping out properly before I did it right onto my image. And then I did the snow. So this is going to say, hello, snow, we were waiting for you, or something like that. And so I'm working on the hello, and I feel like of all the things that I did this day, when I was working, this was the longest part. I feel like this takes the longest amount of time, just fiddling with these stamps. And normally it's not that big of a deal, but when you're working with an individual letter, I just feel like there's a lot of finagling back and forth. And you can see that now I'm stamping onto a plastic sheet because I'm not really sure exactly where to stamp it or how big the hello is going to be compared to the snow, and I want them to be aligned the best that I can. So I'm just stamping it onto plastic, and then I'm looking at how it works together, and it actually fits really well. That is not something that I planned. That was just serendipity. So I was glad that I made that practice so that I would know where to stamp the other ones, especially because they were, I had to separate them because there are two L's in the letter. So the Stamp-A-Majig is absolutely one of my favorite tools. I think someone may have asked, what's one of your favorite tools? Was stamping. I think it's not a Stamp-A-Majig. This is a Fiskars letterpress. It's one of my favorite things because you can align it exactly where you want. It's not rubber feet. Those feet are made out of sponges, and so when you push down on them, they have give, and you can move them around a little bit back and forth, up and down, just to get it to the exact spot that you want, and then you just press down and it's awesome. I absolutely love this tool. So if you enjoy stamping, especially with letter stamps, I would definitely suggest something like this. I believe it's not very expensive, so that's a bonus. Anyway, so that is how my journaling is going to look. And then I'm going to move on to where I'm going to do the placement of the numbers. And I feel like, again, this is something that takes me some time to consider what I want to do. And I actually really do like that 17 there. See, I ran into the same problem again of not knowing, should I do white or should I continue with the same black? So what I went ahead and did is I went and started looking through my stash of all the numbers that I had black and white, and then what I settled on is the same small white numbers that I had used before on day 4. So you'll see that I'm going to use that. And then I grabbed over some pattern paper that I had left over from last year. And I actually like that star, but because I have 2 sheets of it, I felt fine about cutting it out. And so you'll see that I just cut it into a banner. And I did use a template for that, so it just made it a little bit easier. So I knew that I was going to get the bottom. Usually when I cut banners, I'm so bad at getting the bottom even. It's always like askew. So I was really happy that I had a template to use. And then I'm just sticking on the numbers and I'm using my tweezers. This actually really helps when you're working with small stuff. And then I'm just stapling, just adding some staples. Those are just for, I don't necessarily need the staples, but I thought I would add a little bit of texture to the page, and so that's why I added it. Anyway, you guys, this is days 16 and 17. I hope you're able to find some inspiration. If you are new here, welcome. And if you'd like to see more of my December daily, please feel free to subscribe. Also, in my description below, I will have a link to my other December daily videos so you can access those easier. And if you like what you saw, please feel free to give it a thumbs up. All right, you guys, we will catch you in the next video. Bye.